eventually give them positional advantage in the crowded workplace of the competitive world, for its name reflects the global standards the college stands for. Highlights of this academic transformation includes the launch of the Basic Education Unit, and Level 1 accreditation of Business Administration, Information Technology, Education, Psychology, Hospitality Management, and Nursing programs from the Philippine Association of Colleges and Universities Commission and Accreditation in 2014. STCA continues to strive in achieving excellent service and program offerings. The International Organization for Standardization was awarded to STCA as a highlight of the 11th founding anniversary. In response to the 2015 ASEAN integration and backed up by our impressive track record in higher education, STCA reaffirmed our leadership by keeping up with the changes in the Philippine education system. The launch of our progressive and industry-responsive senior high school in 2016. The same year, STCA Graduate School offered Master in Business Administration and Master of Arts in Psychology, proof to the community indeed walked the talk. Through the leadership of Dr. Nilda W. Balsitas, STCA is working towards the institutional sustainability accreditation and achieved PACOCOA Level 3 accreditation in the operation of STCA's 15th year in 2018. Another milestone marks the crystal year of the institution as STCA opened an 11-story red dome building. With the dynamism of STCA's industry-seasoned faculty and students, the institution was able to achieve various recognition in academics. Areas of linkages, STCA continues to have strong relationships with industry partners and academic networks. STCA's vision to become a global status is the mission in the years to come, alongside with the efforts to be recognized as center of development. St. Dominic College of Asia continues to accomplish for the past 15 years as a testimony of its core values of service, dynamism, competence, and accountability. Because at St. Dominic College of Asia, we revolutionized education.
Sir, I have a question for you. This pandemic may have changed the way we do work, but SCCA is dedicated to providing the best quality of education to our students. Upon emphasis on SCCA administrators, led by Dean Julie Estrada, we have partnered with Ambassador to make sure that our students can learn at ease and uncompromised. We ensure that we provide a well-balanced learning time with extracurricular to make sure that for the media, we have strengthened our campus storytelling. This 2020 has led not generate skills and we will not stop creating strategies, institutional development, and responsive techniques for continued and continuous improvement. This is how contribution revolutionize education beyond borders.
Doktor.
The St. Dominic College of Asia School of International Hospitality and Tourism Management provides the right academic atmosphere for its stakeholders using competency-based, value-driven, industry interface curriculum with a perfect blend of international industry and academic partners for students to grow and learn within a diverse multicultural environment. It offers a perfect environment to become innovative, decisive, and productive individuals, and of course, a global change maker. St. Dominic College of Asia School of International Hospitality and Tourism Management is one of the leading schools in the country, which aims to produce globally competitive graduates by harnessing student skills through experience-based learning, imbued with service, dynamism, competence, and accountability. The School of International Hospitality and Tourism provides its students with the stakeholders' competency needed through industry-based training, market-driven programs, and value-laden activities. The academic programs will develop students' potential to enhance their capability in dealing with people in a diverse world as we strive to provide excellent and incomparable world-class service. The Hospitality Management Program offers us a new way of bridging the gap between academia and industry setting, and that hands-on experience will help us to launch our career after graduation. STCA Hospitality Management Program also boasts an international program integrated within the curriculum. This unique feature gives their students international certification and recognition and a clear-cut edge in securing opportunities locally and internationally. Tourism is an ever-evolving, dynamic, rewarding, and fun industry that gives us the chance to go to different places, interact with people from different cultures, and experience the world. The Tourism Management Program at SDCA offers practical and professional learning on the different pillars of tourism, like tour and travel operations, transportation management, accommodation, airline service management, leisure and recreation, tourism research, tourism planning, and other allied services. SAHTM allows students to be involved in any student-centered and value-laden learning activities that help students to improve their learning experiences and support students' academic performance that are intended to address the distinct learning needs, interests, aspirations, and cultural backgrounds. SDCA is committed to producing industry leaders and continuously equip students with competencies needed to manage the service and operation seamlessly based on industry standards. For a unique learning experience dedicated to excellence in learner-centered education and productive activities attuned to local and global demands, let SDCA hook your career in the hospitality and tourism industry.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first SIHTM International Webinar Series. The theme of Rethinking Tourism from Crisis to Transformation. But for us to have a smooth flow of our program, may I call on board Ms. Paula Nicole Bautista to give us some etiquette rules to follow.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Paula Nicole Bautista from BSTM Eventologist Batch 19. Allow me to present to you the netiquette rules. Don't forget to mute your microphone when listening to the webinar. It is highly recommended that your camera must be open during the webinar. You can post your questions and clarification at the comment section in this room or FB Live. Mind the tone of your words and be respectful to others. Limit and possibly avoid the use of emoticons. Take your post seriously, review and edit your post before sending. Actively engage yourself and listen attentively. It is suggested to stay in an area that is free from any noise and distractions. Use a headphone or earphone if needed. Do not leave the webinar until the end. Short activity evaluation will be posted to claim your e-certificate. Kindly include your organization with your full name for identification. Please be guided accordingly. Thank you.
Alright, so thank you Ms. Paula Bautista for guiding us about the etiquette rules for today's webinar. To start the webinar, let us first have our interpret player, followed by the Philippine National Anthem that will be presented by Ms. Maridet Rajas.
In the spirit of love and compassion, let us pray. Spirit of life, thank you that your presence is with us today. We pray that you bless all the committees in charge, that they may be able to fulfill their task responsibly, and that the objectives they have set may all be achieved. Your infinite blessings would be in the success of this webinar. We may be all living witnesses of your genuine love through the enactment of the knowledge acquired through this activity. Today, we give you our hearts, our minds, and our lives. With this, may we humbly ask you to shower our speakers of your greatest inspiration so that they may share the most of their knowledge, heart, and soul to their respective topics. May we also absorb the invaluable knowledge experiences and put it into practice, what we may learn today. As we renew our goals in our hearts, let us say,
Alright, so once again, a wonderful afternoon to all of our virtual participants around the globe. I know that all of you cannot wait to start this event, so without further ado, to all our administrators, faculty members, students, guest speakers, and all our virtual participants watching us live via Facebook and Zoom, good afternoon. In celebration of World Tourism Day 2022, we are all gathering in this international webinar series with the theme of Rethinking Tourism from Crisis to Transformation. My name is Adrian Chua.
And I'm Razid Soliman, and we are your hosts for today's event. So, how are you, partner? You look so duffel today.
Oh wow. Well, thank you, partner. I'm actually very excited to stage this webinar because the topic to be presented by speakers are timely and relevant.
You're right, partner, and we hope that you will be staying with us until the end of this webinar. Now, to commence this webinar, may we request on board the overall student chair, Miss Stephanie and P. Valencia, for the opening remarks.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Stephanie Valencia, the events chair of this international webinar series with the theme Rethinking Tourism from Crisis to Transformation. On behalf of Bachelor of Science in Tourism Management, School of International Hospitality and Tourism Management, HMPE, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for all of your generous support and participation in the training. To all resource speakers and virtual attendees who provided us with the time to make an effort to attend this event. The Eventology Spanish language sincerely welcome all.
Tugtugin mo. Sasalita ka ba?
Thank you, Miss Stephanie and Valencia, for that opening remarks. And now, for our welcoming remarks, may we welcome Dr. Nilda Bolsicas, the Vice President for Academic Affairs, Research, Extension, and Linkages.
To all the participants from around the globe, to our resource speaker, and to the St. Dominic College of Asia Tourism Management students, headed by their very dynamic mentor, Professor Melbert Anunas, a pleasant day. The theme of today's event, World Tourism Day, Rethinking Tourism from Crisis to Transformation, speaks of the moving forward of the tourism industry by shifting its gear from a very unlikely, challenging past to a more positive outlook. We all know that lots of changes and innovations are ongoing because of the tourism hiatus brought about by the pandemic. But with a positive mindset and actions, surely the shifting of the gear towards a transformation with a doable innovation is not far-fetched. This is perhaps the era in which the industry should be more critically aggressive of their plans and activities because the behavior and the needs of the tourists have been influenced by the pandemic. Certainly, people will continuously travel, thus tourism industry will continuously flourish. But the industry has to be more conscious of the new needs of the tourists. That is why it is worth noting that in this event, we have experts from the field. We expect that all of us would pay attention, listen intently, so we can gain a lot of ideas, especially on how to cope with the new set of challenges. Let us learn from this event and ensure that these learnings will be put into good use now and in the future. Thank you and congratulations to all of you.
Alright, so thank you so much, Dr. Nilde Balsicas, for the warmly welcome. And now, let us present our participating delegates for this webinar across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Lan Kyla Salgado and Micaela Reyes, our registration committee.
Good day, everyone. I'm Lankayla F. Salgado of BSTM Eventologies Batch 19. And it's my pleasure to welcome our delegates of our event. Our Lady of Fatima University. For National Capital Region, NCR, we have Aerometrics Industries Incorporated, Arellano University, College of St. Adeline, De La Salle College of St. Ninian, Lungsod ng Marikina, National Teachers College, Our Lady of Fatima University, Perpetual Help College of Manila, Perpetual Help College of Dalta, Philippine Merchant Marine School Las Piñas, Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Southeast Asian College, St. Clair College of Caloocan, STI College Las Piñas, University of Makati.
For Cordillera Administrative Region, we have Local Government Unit of Calanasan Apayao, University of Baguio.
For Region 1, Ilocos Region, we have Local Government of Umingan, University of Northern Philippines.
For Region 2, Cagayan Valley, we have Cagayan State University, International School of Asia and the Pacific, Local Government Unit.
For Region 3, Central Luzon, we have Bulacan Agricultural State College, Pampanga Colleges, Pinma Arroyo University, Provincial Government of Tarlac.
For Region 4A Calabarzon, we have Batangas State University, Cavite State University, De La Salle Pa, Granby College of Science and Technology, Institute of Creative Computer Technology, International School for Hotel and Restaurant Management, Laguna State Polytechnic University, St. Dominic College of Asia, Thomas Claudio Colleges, University of Rizal System.
We have Mimaropa Southern Tagalog, City Government of Calapan.
We have Ateneo de Naga, Mariners Polytechnic Colleges Foundation, Legazpi City, St. Francis Carausiolo Culinary Academy, University of St. Anthony.
For Region 6, Western Visayas, we have Colegio del Sagrado Corazon de Jesus, University of Antique, West Visayas State University.
For Region 7, Central Visayas, we have Crystal E. College, Negros Oriental State University, University of Bohol.
For Region 8, Eastern Visayas, we have Visayas State University.
For Region 9, Zamboanga Peninsula, we have Department of Education, Taylor College of Zamboanga City and Corporation, Western Mindanao State University.
For Region 10, Northern Mindanao, we have Central Mindanao University, Lourdes College.
For Region 11, Davao Region, we have Lyceum of the Philippines University, Davao.
For Region 12, Sax Sargent, we have University of Southern Mindanao.
Region 13, Caraga Region, we have Davao del Norte State College.
Outside the Philippines, we have Adhiyamaan College of Agriculture and Research, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Science and Technology University, Gopalgon, Bangladesh.
Alright, So thank you so much, Miss Lan Kayla Salgado and Miss Micaela Reyes. And as of now, we already have 1,341 registered participants. Wow! This is really exciting. And you know what, partner? The purpose of this webinar is to enhance possible opportunities in tourism industry. And of course, to further understand the topic rethinking tourism from crisis to transformation, let's all watch the audio-visual presentation and celebration of the World Tourism Day 2022.
Are you one in a million? If you traveled internationally in 2021, then you are. In fact, you are 1 in 429 million. According to the United Nations World Tourism Organization, that's how many international trips that were made last year. And by 2030, it will be nearly 2 billion. 2030, 2 billion people experiencing new cultures, sharing new friends, creating new business. 2 billion people providing jobs and an income for billions. Each and every person who travels will play a part in the story of growth, adventure, and experience.
You see, the whole definition of luxury itself is changing, and when you interact with your travelers, with your customers, you will realize that now luxury for customers means immersive experiences. It means traveling to destinations which are socially and environmentally responsible. It means about trying to see what we can do to contribute to the local community.
But will this story have a happy ending? Littering, drinking in public spots, partying noisily in jungle lodges, trying to take selfies with animals, dancing naked in waterfalls. The list of irresponsible behavior while traveling can go on and on. Sadly, this has now become an unavoidable reality. Tourists are wrecking the places they visit. We are already seeing the challenges play out. We take 32 million flights each year. That means there's 781 million tons of carbon that we emit each year. Imagine year 2030, 2 billion travelers. This amounts to 4 billion footprints. So the question is, what does it take to be sustainable while traveling? And what is the road ahead? When can we finally see the change in the way we travel? What is it that is stopping us?
Well, I think the word sustainable needs to be added as a prefix for all the industries. And tourism is no different. Sustainable tourism to us is about making choices which are environmentally friendly, not only for the property, but also for the community.
A study published by Nature Climate Change suggests that tourism accounts for 8% of global greenhouse gas emissions, which is a very large percentage when we consider all of the possible sources of emissions. It is no longer enough to congratulate ourselves on what we're doing well or point fingers at what we're not doing so well. It is time we take responsibility for our actions.
Now the time has come where we need a very bold contribution from everybody.
On this World Tourism Day, let's redefine tourism. Let's rethink tourism.
You know what, partner? Irresponsible tourism has unfortunately become an unavoidable reality. Tourists are wrecking the places to visit. We are already seeing challenges play out. Tourists are littering, crowding, drinking in public places, and partying noisily, disturbing the local atmosphere, and more. And on this World Tourism Day celebration, let's redefine tourism. Let's rethink tourism and be prepared for the challenges of the future. Since we're almost ready, let us start the ball rolling and meet our panel of experts. Yes. With that, to introduce our keynote speaker, may we call on Professor Melbert V. Animas, our Eventologist Batch 19 course advice.
Good afternoon, everyone, and we thank you for attending our first international webinar series. With that, it is my pride and honor to introduce to you our keynote speaker this afternoon. Our keynote speaker is currently the Executive Chairman of the World Tourism Association for Culture and Heritage. With his 36 years of experience in international tourism, working in a wide range of countries across 4 continents, he has a wide experience and knowledge of tourism industry and the requirements needed to influence tourism development and expansion. He is a recognized leading specialist worldwide in terms of innovations and strategies, and often requested to speak at high-profile conferences and events, and even invited in leading news media channels. His expertise is also sought by leading Australian and international universities and faculties. He is recognized for excellence in terms of developing and delivering major strategic initiatives in multinational environment, public and private sector negotiation, relationship management, stakeholder engagement, strategic insights into future trends, and high-level communicator. Ladies and gentlemen, our dearest virtual participants, let us give a virtual round of applause to our keynote speaker, Mr. Chris Lee.
G'day, my name is Chris Flynn and I am the Executive Chairman of the World Tourism Association for Culture and Heritage, or as it's more commonly known, WETAC. Before I make my presentation, I would just like to thank the organisers for giving me the opportunity to take part in this important event, share my views and comments and participate in what is a very important discussion, especially as the world begins to turn once again to the tourism industry. Prior to COVID-19, UNWTO forecast that the world would reach 1.8 billion international tourists by 2030. However, by 2018, we'd already reached the figure of 1.4 billion. That was 2 years ahead of schedule, or ahead of forecast. And if we actually continued that trend line, we would probably have reached 1.8 billion international tourist arrivals by around 2025. In 2019, following that trend line, we reached 1.5 billion international tourists. Now, I think it's important at this stage to define the difference between millions and billions, because they sound the same. If I was to take 1 million seconds away from today, I would end up with about 12 days. If I take 1 billion seconds away from today, I end up with 33 years. So when we start talking about billions, you can basically see the potential for the issue that we could face. Now that 1.5 billion was a 4% year-on-year change from 2018, where of course we were already 2 years ahead of forecast. And that equated to about 4 million tourists a day. So what did 4 million tourists a day look like? Well, it was a little bit like this. This is Venice. Of course, our sacred sites, our towns and villages, our historical sites and venues, all completely saturated with tourists. And of course, this was a problem. And all over the world, we began to see this sentiment: tourists go home. The irony of this is this also became a tourist attraction. But in different countries and different parts of the world, we saw the impact of our industry that was basically destroying the very fabric of the local communities. There was significant resentment, and that is down to a lack of planning, a lack of consultation, not having them have a seat at our table in the discussions when it comes to tourism planning. Of course, we've had COVID-19 and we are still managing the effects of COVID-19, and we will do for the foreseeable future. But although the borders are opening, it's important to note that we still have 500 million people around the world suffering from COVID-19. In fact, in my own state here in New South Wales, sadly, we lost 45 people just this weekend alone. What we do know about COVID-19 is the impact on our industry was swift and devastating. Although international borders are opening, it's safe to say that the future is still uncertain, very unpredictable. One thing's for sure, travel and tourism will not be returning to a new normal. In fact, it's already transitioning into a new paradigm. We also know that current research clearly indicates that traveller intentions and motivations have and will continue to change. There's a growing desire for more aspirational, authentic, and immersive experiences. And I think it's important to note that during the lockdown phase of COVID-19, the majority of people were sat in front of computers not looking for the cheapest fare because they couldn't travel, but looking for what a destination truly has to offer, and the opportunities that brings with it. So what we do know is that although travellers may seek to travel less, they will want to experience more. So trust has become a critical aspect of traveller decision making. Now trust, of course, from a safety perspective, from a health perspective, is something that will be on most people's radar as we begin to open up the world again. But another element of trust, and one that is significant and will significantly grow as we move forward, is in our marketing messages. Now what do I mean by that? Well, if we look at some of our peak destinations around the world, here is St. Mark's Square in Venice, as an example. And this image here, like the other images, are taken from websites that are promoting the destination, official websites, as of today. So here we have Venice. This is the marketing message. The reality is more like this. The beautiful, pristine beaches, Thailand, is more like this. The entrance to the old city of Dubrovnik is more like this. And even before COVID, people were growing tired of this saturation of people, this issue of over-tourism, this massaging of our marketing message to try and sell and promote the destination, to over-promote it, bring volumes of tourists in all at the same time. People are not going to stand for this, although we're already seeing a return to it. So now is the time to plan and execute strategies that seek to welcome visitors more responsibly. I think this is what this conference is all about. This has to be done. We do see that as the borders are opening, all the discussion that we had prior to the borders opening seems to have evaporated. The discussions in terms of being more responsible, more sustainable. And I understand that because we live in a KPI society. We live in an environment where we have to be measured and have to show success, usually through volume. So, responsible and sustainable tourism development requires finding ways to reduce visitor pressure on popular destinations, minimizing the negative impact on local communities. And this comes back to what I was saying before, because local communities rarely had an opportunity to voice their opinion or to sit at a table and discuss the potential impacts of tourism on their lives and livelihoods. We need to engage with local communities so that they are part of the solution. We need to create evidence-based carrying capacity plans to better prepare and track visitor growth, to minimize these negative effects. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, at WeTech, we have a saying that is, you have to know what you can take before you break, because if you don't know what you can take, it's a recipe for disaster. But already around the world, we're starting to see the emergence of over-tourism again. So this carrying capacity concept and planning is incredibly important. We need to develop a 365-day visitor program. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's have a look here right now. This is latest or recently released figures from UNWTO for January of this year, January 22. And you'll see here that when we start to look at these volumes as people start to return to travel again, we have Americans 97%, Europe 199%, Africa, Middle East, all showing significant volumes. In fact, the average is about 130%, and you would expect that with pent-up demand, what's been caused by COVID. The problem is, for places like the US or Americas and Europe, January is the low season. In fact, it's the lowest part of the low season. And yet we're still seeing these huge volumes of returning passengers or returning travelers. And this is the problem here. And this can be taken from any year. This one's from 2017, but this can be 16, 19, 18, whatever, although it's been impacted by COVID. And this is what I'm talking about. This jump into this spike in visitor arrivals here as we squash visitors into our peak season because we think that's what they want. But is it? Is that what the research is basically saying? Because what about this bit? There's a word for this, and that word is opportunity. These are the low and shoulder seasons that are rarely crowded, that give us the opportunity to spread more equitably our visitation throughout the year. This is part of responsible tourism development. The other thing that we need to consider is greater regional dispersal. And of course, regional dispersal has been championed as a silver bullet. So basically, a solution to urban tourism, moving people around the destination. Of course, that's very important. But it can also be a complete nightmare if you don't educate, plan, train, and prepare these destinations that you're going to disperse these visitors to ahead of time. All you're doing then is moving the problem, potentially finding another problem later on. So responsible tourism development must begin with engaging with local communities as equal stakeholders. That's very important. Providing advice on the key benefits of tourism development, but also the potential issues associated with it, because there are many, as we know. We need to listen to their concerns and their perceptions. We need to offer appropriate training and upskilling on the key aspects of developing, managing, and succeeding in a tourism business. And of course, we need to ensure that they have enough government, local ministerial, and or international donor support to enable them to plan financially for multiple years ahead. I'm sure we've all seen tourism development that has not been looked at from a position of 5 or 10 years hence, when we get our initial finance, when we put our initial resources into it, but we don't plan for how we're going to continue to develop more responsibly. At WeTech, in all of our training programs that we offer destinations and various different stakeholders in tourism, we have what's called the 6 Cs, and that is community engagement, and I will continue to go on about that because it's so important. Carrying capacity, understanding what you can take before you break. Cultural awareness. Often we see tourism development that doesn't consider the impact on local culture and local society. Commercial education and skills training. It's not just good enough to educate them about tourism. They need to be educated on how to run a business. Collaboration. Collaboration with key stakeholders that would potentially offer them the right distribution, if you will, to promote and grow their products. And of course, coordination with the local authorities, local ministries, and of course, financial institutions. But you know, if we get it right, we improve the lives and livelihoods of local communities. We create stable and sustainable and stable economic growth for these communities. We provide a 365-day revenue stream, not just during peak seasons, but throughout the year. We increase community pride. We give them an opportunity to grow and improve their socio-economic conditions, and within that, build pride. We preserve local traditions and local way of life. We help protect and promote the unique cultural heritage assets, both tangible and intangible. We establish platforms that help broaden their tourism programs, such as local festivals, cultural celebrations, local foods, arts, science, etc. And of course,
Thank you very much, Mr. Chris Flynn, for that insightful presentation. I'm sure our participants will learn something from you. I can say that tourism is one of the most promising areas of sustainable economic development for many modern countries. And also, cultural heritage gives people a sense of unity and belonging. It inspires a shared bond and our belonging to a community. Do you agree, partner?
I agree.
All right. And now let us proceed to the next speaker, Dr. Nimrod M. Carpio, a professor from Jeonju University in South Korea for tourism and hospitality, to discuss the strategies of South Korea in the new era of K-tourism. Hello, Dr. Nimrod.
Hello, good afternoon. Am I audible?
Good afternoon. Yes, sir. You are very audible.
Okay, so first of all, good afternoon to everyone. Magandang hapon. Na-miss ko mag-Tagalog. So, I am Professor Nimrod M. Carpio. So, I am presently here at Jeonju University here in South Korea. I'm a foreign professor under the Department of Tourism and Hospitality, particularly with the hotel management program. So, kung sa atin, para siyang HRM. But for this university, we divided the programs. Unlike in the Philippines, we have hotel, food service, culinary in one program. So here we separate them. We have food service in different food service, culinary, and other courses in different programs. So I'm under the hotel management program. So first of all, before I start, I would like to greet and say my thanks and my gratitude to the administrators of St. Dominic School of Asia, and of course to the faculty members who are very diligent in supervising our students, especially our student leaders. I would like to thank also the organization's committee members, especially Miss Stephanie, who reached out to me from nowhere, as in that where hindi ko talaga akalain na I will be invited. Although I've been speaker for several seminars there in Philippines. So I would like to also to give my greetings to my co-speakers, students of St. Dominic and other universities and institutions. Okay, so because of the limited time, let me start and share my screen to you. Okay. So can you see my screen now? Can anyone please comment?
Yes, Dr. Nimrod, we can see you.
Okay, thank you. So my topic for today for the St. Dominic College of Asia is the strategies of South Korea in the new era of K-tourism. So I just like to give you a glance of our university. So I am very proud Filipino here because we are I think, less than 20 professors or less than 50 Filipino professors here in South Korea. Here in Jeonju University, I'm the only Filipino. That's why I'm very proud that every time that Philippine institution or educational institution is inviting me, I'm very proud that I'm holding our flag. And so ito yung aming school dito sa Jeonju University. So I am 3 hours away from Seoul and 3 hours away from Busan. So in short, I'm in the middle of South Korea. Ayan. Sabi ko nga nung nauso yung zombie movies, wala akong pupuntahan kasi nasa gitna ako. Ayan. So let me start my presentation regards to my topic. So my topic is all about the strategies wherein the South Korea is using nowadays, especially that we know that South Korea is one of the top destination here in Asia okay, because of different kinds of factors. So I just would like to give you some overview about the topic. So we all know that South Korea has been a growing market in terms of tourism. Aside before the leisure tourism or the leisure travel, before that, South Korea is very well known because of cars, the Hyundai and Kia. Those are Korean brands, same as Samsung, our gadgets, and ships because of Ulsan, which is near Busan. They are very known because of that. But during late 90s up to early 2000, okay, maybe our dear professors will agree with me, wherein K-drama started in the Philippines. The what we call yung mga napapanood natin sa Netflix, right? The series started. That was the boom. Okay, that's the start of the tourism or the travel leisure travel here in South Korea. And then I would like to give you also the overview para maintindihan natin so that we can understand about the strategies of South Korea is that last January 2020, we cannot forget about that date because it's 2020. January 20, 2020. That was the first case in South Korea with regards to COVID-19. So yan yung kauna-unahang case. Okay, it's the first case that was reported. And she was an old lady from a Korean lady from China, and then came back here in South Korea, and everything was history already. And then Korea is also have been known for international spectrum in terms of handling COVID-19. So South Korea has been the, how do you call it, the COVID-19 or I'm looking for the word, the role model, yeah, the role model of a role model country in handling COVID-19. Because why? Since 2020 or even 2019, late December, we never had a lockdown. Even with COVID-19, we never had a lockdown during those times. We have some restrictions, but without lockdown. So in my background, this is Seoul, one good spot in Seoul. This is the Lotte Tower. Okay, if you're familiar with that, if you're familiar with a brand, Lotte, right? There are so many snacks and food which is brand under Lotte. This is their main office, the Lotte Tower. This is the tallest building in Seoul. No, in the South Korea. So in terms of the inbound visitors of South Korea, same as because of the COVID-19. Last 2019, we reached 17.5 million international travels. But because of COVID, 2020 up to 2021, we even reached 970,000 only tourists for that one. So I think all country experience because of the COVID-19. So these two slides, okay, I just gave you the overview so that you will understand and you will appreciate what are the things or the strategies that South Korean government, the entertainment industry did, and even the food industry did, and hospitality industry did during those times. Okay, the first strategy that the South Korea, okay, did is, or still doing, is strategy number one, Hallyu. I'm not sure if you're a fan of Korean, yeah, if you can speak Hangul, Hallyu is it means what? The Korean wave or K-wave. So Hallyu is the reason for the popularity. So Hallyu, also known as the Korean wave or popular culture, it started way back early 2000 up to now. Hallyu means the K-wave, which is including music, TV shows and series, even movies, right? The Train to Busan, okay, the zombie movies and others, and even the Korean beauty products those those kinds of areas are included in their strategy number 1, which is Hallyu. Again, my topic is how they market the tourists, all kinds of people around the world to go to South Korea. Number 1 is Hallyu. So as you can see in this photo, right? So you are very familiar with these people, right? The very well-known BTS, but unfortunately, if you are an army, they were resting because most of them, no, all of them will be in army this year. Okay? Especially the oldest one, he will be in the army this month or on this no, early December or late November. Okay, so Hallyu is number 1. So they are inviting people because of Hallyu. What is Hallyu? Korean Wave, K-Wave. Even in Philippines, we have so many Korean products, right? Korean culture. Even as we speak Hangul, we speak Korean, okay, in our own tone. So we are very likely like a Korean, right? So that's their strategy number 1. The thing is, during COVID-19, most of the people were at home, work from home, studying from home. So what happened? The producers of Korean movies and Korean series, because as I mentioned to you, we don't have lockdowns. We only have restrictions, number of persons in this area, in open cities or open grounds, but we don't have lockdowns. So it's still, as you notice, we can still watch series and movies from Korea, right? So what happened? Because of this strategy, now when South Korea opened their borders, now they're open already. Filipinos, I'm speaking in with Filipinos because we know that Filipinos, other countries, even America and Western countries and Asian countries, they fell in love with South Korean culture, right? So what happened now? Sorry for that. What happened now? Filipinos would like to go to Korea now, but unfortunately we need to have schedule to have our visa, right? That's the problem. But for Korean government, it is a good problem. So number 1 strategy, Hallyu. Strategy number 2, the usage of social media platforms. So the government, okay, because of, they know that Filipinos love Korean movies, they love Korean, the K-Wave, they use social media. Why? Because everyone is at home. Everyone are inside their home. Nasa loob tayo, kaya medyo nag-gain tayo ng weight, di ba? During 2021, 2021, nag-gain tayo ng weight because we are inside our houses, right? Our home. So, they use Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Villa, Weavers, Beto, Naver to what? To market. They are preparing, they use the situation, the pandemic, in a good way. So because they know that they have the market, and if you are really a South Korean, the K-Wave fan, even Americans, right? Even Americans, they fell in love with BTS and other K-pop idols, K-idols. So the strategy number 2 is what? Using social media platforms. Not only Instagram, not only Facebook, not only YouTube, but they even have Weavers, Beto, and Labor. Okay, I think Army students know about this one. Weavers is an online under the BTS, if I'm not mistaken. V-Live is with other Korean, can also used by other Korean Korean idols. They call it K-idols. K-idols here. Not celebrity. They call them idols, K-idols. Okay? And another one also is the strategy number 3. Korean travel companies are focusing on app-based travel. platforms and creating user-friendly mobile application. What do you mean by that? Although this is only, sorry, although this is only for inbound, okay, it means inside the um, Korea local travel, because they know that they cannot travel outside Korea, so or abroad. So what they did is they strengthened their mobile applications, the strategy number 3. So they targeted local tourists. So kami dito, kulong kami, we are trapped in Korea. So what they did, we they gave us promo. I went to Jeju during 2020 with a very minimal fare cost. I think 500 pesos. I went to Jeju because of um, these kinds of promotions online. So even all over the world nowadays, okay, they even strengthening their applications, right? Weavers, just like what I mentioned to you, Weavers, VLive, Zepeto, it's not only for Korea nowadays. It's not only for Korea. It's all over the world already. Americans, we know I don't know if you watch the news about, because BTS is the number one K idols here, the group. They even went in UN, right, to promote the discrimination. I mean, to promote the avoidance of discrimination for Asians, right? So now, before, Americans discriminate Asians, especially South Koreans, or us Filipinos. But now, because of this strategy, okay, the mobile applications has been scattered all over the world. All over the world. Strategy number 4. Don't worry, I only have 7 or 8 strategies. Okay. Number 4, of course, the easing of visa rules and restrictions. So when you say easing, it means that they remove strict rules. Before, my first vacation after the peak of pandemic was 2021 January. I was how do you call it? I was quarantined in Manila for 5 days, and then I took swab test. But now we can go out and we can go in South Korea if you're a resident, like anytime. So nowadays, same as you guys, if you are in the Philippines and in other countries, you can go here in South Korea as long as you have the visa, okay, the tourist visa, and of course the passport, of course. Easing visa rules, especially for whom? For the different countries, the top 5. China is the number 1 tourist here in South Korea, followed by Vietnam. We are the 3rd, Filipinos, but I think we are battling between Vietnam now because of what? Because of our eagerness going to South Korea, and then Indonesia, and then India. Okay, so different borders are opening now in South Korea, but as of now, you can only reach, or you can only enter South Korea via Seoul, or Incheon rather, Incheon Airport. Before, you can go here by Busan. Okay, Gangneung, yes, but it should be by group. But now it's okay now even by individual. But yeah, you need to have the schedule for the South Korean embassy in Manila. And then Jeju. Jeju is visa-free island. You can go to Jeju even without visa, but unfortunately, you can only visit Jeju because, as you can see here in my in the monitor, Jeju is a separate one. So if you want to go to the main island, you need to go by sea or by plane, and they will ask you for the visa. So if you don't have that, still you need to go back to your home country or to Philippines. Okay, but Busan and other major airports are still starting to open. But as of now, Incheon Airport is the busiest airport nowadays because of Seoul. Because Seoul is the number 1 tourist spot here, or tourist destination here in South Korea. Okay. Next one, as you can see here, this is the visa announcement. As of November 7, they added travel agencies. Before, you can walk in to um, South Korean embassy in Taguig any time of the day, as long as you can meet the quota. I remember I even watched a news online in Facebook. I saw a very long line of Filipinos. I think that was the last day when before the online reservation of visa. Right? So nowadays you can apply, but as of now, until if I'm not mistaken, until January, all slots are closed already. So our only chance, if you really want to go here in South Korea as a tourist, is via travel agencies. Just an information, getting a visa for as a tourist for 3 months or 90 days for South Korean embassy, it's free. But you are going to pay for the travel agency because they're the institution or establishments that will run for your visa. But if you will have a schedule for walk-in, you can still. But yeah, just like what I've told you, schedule or the slots are full already. Um, it's free. But if you're going to enter in a travel agency, yeah, you need to pay a little. I think 1,600, if I'm not mistaken, 1,200 to 1,600, depending on the agency. Because I inquired last day, I think last Monday, because my parents, I will invite them for April, on April rather. Okay, number 5. I'm not sure if you know this one. Less travel health restriction, of course. Before you need to have swab tests. You need to have swab tests here. So now, no more. As long as you have what? As of now, the Embassy of Republic of Korea starting June 8, you don't need to have the PCR test going here in South Korea, but before you need that. As long as you have the evidence of vaccination. You have the vaccine card. I'm not sure kung anong tawag po natin dun sa vaccine card natin dyan. Basta meron kayong, as long as you have that document, okay, from the OH yata or Red Cross, it is acceptable. Okay, so that was since October 13th. That was the latest news from that website. Okay, from the Ministry of Health. Are you familiar with this? What do you call it? This place. Although this is President Moon, the previous president of South Korea, this is the DMZ. This is the militarized zone, okay, for the DMZ. This is the border between South Korea and North Korea. So on the left, that is President Kim, or the leader, Kim, the leader of North Korea, and the previous president of South Korea, President Moon. Okay, I can't find a new photo of this because the new president is just elected a few months ago, so I don't know if they have this kind of photo. So I used the old photo. If you can see this barrel or this bar, this is the border. Even one step of President Moon here, he's already in North Korea. But because he is a president, he is allowed to. But if you are an ordinary person and you go here in the North Korea, you cannot go back to South Korea anymore. So what do you mean by this? The aggressive marketing and incorporation of K-pop culture or the K-wave, as well as the expanding tourism to DMZ. Why? Because we were what? We were being curious of DMZ. Even me, I've never been to DMZ because I'm waiting for my parents. I am very curious about this because of this series. About this. Yeah. So going back, so I am very curious about this DMZ tourist spot, the tourist spot. Okay, because of this. series. I watched this series, The Crash Landing on You. It was shown here, and I think also there in Philippines, 2019 and 2020, the peak of COVID-19. So if you are a late bloomer, you even watch this later, 2020. So they market it, they even promote it. So nowadays, so people go there. So if I can zoom, yeah, I can zoom. So this is the front of the MC. Of course, this is in South Korea, the side of South Korea. So foreigners and all of us, if you will be coming, if you will be here in South Korea, you can go here. So DMZ, of course, if this is Seoul, DMZ is a little upward, okay, above of Seoul. So here, as you um, can see the soldier. Those are, he is a South Korean soldier. These two, they are North Korean soldiers. And those are tourists. If those tourists will run and go to North Korea, he or she can never go back again. Politically, no. Even it's just a, how do you call it, biro lang or a prank, no. You are not allowed to do that. So if you will be in DMZ, promoting, okay, going there, you need to use devices just to see. Because our thinking is that if we are in the DMZ, in the border, the next meter is already North Korea. I mean, houses, buildings, no. Kilometers. It's still kilometers away. Okay, just like here. So this is South Korea, the lower part, and then the the upper part is the North Korea, the Pyongyang. Right? Pyongyang. So Pyongyang is the capital of North Korea. But actually, maybe some of you are not familiar. We can go, right? No, Filipinos are not allowed. But other nationalities, most likely are Western nationalities, they can go to North Korea, but via China. They can go to North Korea via China, and it is via a group tour. Okay, they're going to ride a train, and everything will be confiscated. I mean, magazines, political magazines, anything against North Korea. You know what I mean? Okay, but we can travel to North Korea as a tourist. Okay, but yeah, it is not dangerous, but a little. If you have anxiety, maybe, yeah, if you have that kind of feeling. Okay, 7. I think I'm quite near. Okay, second to the last. I only have 8 strategy. Expand tax benefits for inbound tourists when they purchase goods in the nation. So this is a new one. Before, or although before, we have the tax-free or tax refund. But nowadays, because the border of South Korea will open or opened already, they even expanded it. It means that we will pay lesser tax, okay? Lesser tax for Korean products. So there are some Filipinos, especially Filipinos, we want to buy different Korean products, but because of taxes, right? We sometimes hesitate to do that. So nowadays, if you're going to visit South Korea, there are so many shops now. There even in airports, you can You can refund the taxes. So this is one of their marketing for the new wave, okay, of tourists coming here in South Korea. But I think because of still a school days, I think you are not yet on vacation, and maybe by December, the start of going here, okay, the start of tourist arrival here in South Korea will go up again, reach the peak. Okay, so there are some duty-free products here, okay, and tax returns. Okay, so you can refund your taxes. Okay, and then my last strategy that I prepared is strategy number 8. What is it? This is the most important, and I think this is what I really appreciated with the South Korean government. The government increased its financial subsidy for the tourism sector. As you can see, are you familiar with Myeongdong? Myeongdong is like um, BGC, I can say, or Taguig of Manila. This is Myeongdong, wherein you can. This is Myeongdong during COVID. Most of the shops are closed. Wherein cosmetics, dresses are here supposedly, but many of them are closed. But before COVID, this is Myeongdong. Very busy. If you've been here in South Korea, Myeongdong is really a busy street. Okay, and it's quite near Itaewon. If you just heard the tragedy about Itaewon, yeah, it's normal for them. It's normal for them to have this kind of. Kung sa atin, para siyang divisoria. And I can say that. Okay, before. So what good thing about the strategy is that because the government know that this coming months, December up to next year, many Filipinos, many international tourists will come to South Korea. They give more subsidy. When you say subsidy, they give more money to the tourism sector. Who are they? The shops, tourist destinations, tourist spots. Okay, so that what? They can start again. They can start again because of the new coming of the tourists, the new batch of tourists. Because I'm going back to these strategies, the K-way in my number one, right? The Hallyu. We've been so exposed of that what do you call it? That culture. So for sure, many of you wants to go here in South Korea. Okay, so these are just my resources where I got my presentations for you. So thank you so much. I hope I gave some of my knowledge from you. But I have more, but yeah, because of the limited time, that those are the most important strategies that I hope other countries and especially Philippines can do to make our country, Philippines, more appealing and marketable to international travelers. Thank you so much.
Alright, so thank you so much, Dr. Nimrod M. Carpio, for that very informative and precise presentation. And I'm sure that our participants on board gained a lot of knowledge from what you have just discussed. Is that right, partner?
Of course, partner. I think everyone is learning from Dr. Nimrod. You know, partner, it is really fascinating how K-pop blew up all around the world. It introduced the culture of South Koreans internationally. I think this had a lot of impact on the country's tourism industry, since many international fans are curious about the Korean culture and where their idols grew up and trained every day, you know? And now, let us open the question and answer. For the participants, you can now go to our comment section or chat box and submit your questions for our speaker to answer.
Yes, please.
Alright, so first, before we check all of the questions, I'd just like to mention Joshua, or shout out Joshua Jade Malon, BSHM3B from Cebu Technological University. Wow. And we have here. Oh, we have the first question from Kim Floretta. Okay. How does Korean Wave help tourism of Korea boom? Like popped up, yeah.
So how does Korean Wave help the tourism of Korea boom? Just like in my presentation, especially for Filipinos, I'm going to talk on behalf of Filipinos. You know Filipinos, pag may bago, may sikat, sinusuportahan natin, right? If there's something new, we support them. If there's something pogi and maganda, we support them. Right? Sorry for the word, but Korean Wave is like that. So K-pop, K-idols, just like what I've told you, we are working from home, studying at home. So now, practically it's not yet helping because South Korea is just like I mentioned, is just started to open the border. Kaya nga mahirap It's quite difficult now to get the visa, right? If you don't have the visa, right? But this coming months, for sure, it will help. It will help. That's why I told you, fully booked na yung mga yung reservations sa Korean embassy because of Korean waves.
Alright, so thank you so much for that. For this next question is that besides from K-pop and K-drama, why do you think Korea is popular to tourists nowadays? And the question is from Daphne Juarez.
Okay. Yeah, this is a good question. Besides K-pop and K-drama, I can say the nature. I can say the nature. If I'm not mistaken, according to my research here and with my Korean friends, 80%, 70 to 80% of the land area of South Korea are mountainous. So if I can only bring my camera in my window, you can see my background. It's autumn already. The colorful, okay, the colorful leaves, right? The nature that we have here, we don't have that in Philippines. Another one is the season. We have 4 seasons here in Korea. So in short, if you want to see snow nearest to Philippines, you can go to Japan or Korea. But because of K-pop and K-drama, we go to Korea, right? So if you want to see cherry blossom, you can go here by April, late March, or by April. So aside from K-pop and K-drama, I think the nature, because I can compare, iba yung iba yung nature nila dito. Merong they have this kind of nature that we don't have there in Philippines. Why? Because we are tropical. We are a tropical country, and South Korea is in a little higher location. That's why Filipinos. That's why ito yung suit ko ngayon, I can't wear this in Philippines. Magmumukha akong di ba? Magmumukha akong ewan pag sinot ko to sa Pilipinas. Pero dito normal lang sila. Good question. Thank you.
So, last and final question from Crisel de Sena. What do you think are the strategies of the Korea tourism that should adopt by our country's tourism?
That's a really a good question. What do you think are the strategies of Korean tourism that should adopt by our Korean tourism? I can say I have two things, but the number one is support from the government. Really, support from the government. I cannot say that because we are in different levels. South Korea is in the first world country, and I'm not discriminating Philippines, but as you remember in my last strategy that I presented, the government even gave money to the restaurants, to the hotels who got bankrupt during the COVID-19 to prepare for the tourism, the boom of tourism this coming months. So if our government will do that thing in the Philippines, I think, because I believe in the Philippines, there are some islands, some cities are really dependable. Nakadepende sa turismo. So kung wala yung turismo sa kanila, like Boracay, di ba? Like Boracay, without the support of government, nothing can be reached. And the thing is, the difference is that South Korea is a peninsula. Isang lang sila, isang buo, pera lang sa Jeju. The disadvantage of us is that we are archipelago. So we want to travel, but because of the high number or high price of, how do you call it, the plane tickets, right? Sometimes we cannot travel that much. Unlike here, by bus, transportation, they are very good. They have a very good transportation system here. You can go from Seoul to Busan for only around maximum of 2 hours via train. From Seoul to Busan, from north to south. So if we have that in the Philippines, if we can connect Batanes hanggang Hulo, sabi nga, I think that's a good one. Thank you.
Right, so thank you so much for that, Nimrod. Sir Nimrod Carpio, we really appreciate you answering all of the questions from
Thank you so much,
participants.
too.
So now let us proceed to our next key speaker, Professor Nolly J. N. Ope, a tourism and hospitality industry coach, and he will be discussing about hospitality and tourism careers and job opportunities on the advent of the new normal after COVID-19 pandemic. Hello?
Yes. Please repeat that for now. Can you
very
hear me?
much audible, sir.
Hi.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, I'm not from other Western countries. No, I'm not also from South Korea. I'm from San Mateo Rizal, Philippines. So, mabuhay everyone. And please good afternoon. No, as I mentioned, no, this would be the assigned topic for me. This would be hospitality and tourism careers and job opportunities. No, on the advent of the new normal after COVID-19. So, for this one, can I ask, are all of you graduating students for TM and tourism? So automatically, I'm asking why. Because this topic is pertaining to all of you, or especially for those graduating students. No? So moving forward, ayan. Okay. So can you see my screen moving alongside you? Is it visible?
Yes.
Ayan. So thank you so much. So for the subtopic that I have, this would be the first one, in which it's all about the qualities of a great hospitality and tourism employee, no? In which we're dealing with behavior. And normally, ito po yung mga hinahanap ng HR nowadays. Okay? So, not only HR, but for those who are going to interview, no? Their possible and potential employees. Okay? So, move along for the next slide that I have here. Okay? So, normally, we have this kind of teamwork, flexibility, and customer service. So, this would be the behavior in which habang college pa po kayo, no, you're already developing this kind of attitude along with others. So as you can see on the slide, no, almost all of the job, no, your work automatically have this kind of behavior. And normally it's all about collaboration, communication, and coordination with others. And another thing, if you're going to move forward for the flexibility, normally it's all about your multitasking. No? Move forward for the flexibility. I think there is a feedback. Ayan, so nawala na. So again, for the flexibility, before if you're going to be interviewed, normally all of you will going to mention, no, that you are willing, no, to do a night shift, to do a GOA shift, and you are willing, no, to assign in other areas. But normally, in reality po, kapag nandun na kayo, no, that's the time that you will going to give up. Okay? So, automatically, that will be the first impression that you're going to make. Okay? And another thing, it's all about customer service. So, all of the areas under hospitality and tourism, no, much more on service-oriented kung tawagin. Okay? So, this one po, we are promoting suggestive selling, no, cross-selling, upselling, everything, no? Enable for us to increase our revenue. So, moving forward, on the next slide that I have here, we also have another behavior in which we call that one crisis management, multitasking, and endurance. So, what would be this behavior? No? Bakit kailangan din itong issue, no, sa ating company? Normally, crisis management is it's all about having a corrective action plan. No? Whether you're going to encounter a customer complaint or guest complaint, obviously you're not going to depend, no, on your supervisor or manager. Okay, so it's all up to you. No? So multitasking, obviously, it's all about having an initiative, no, in which you're going to do multitasking enable for you to develop more. Okay? So, normally, hindi ka lang po cashier, hindi ka lang server, hindi ka lang cook. You know everything. Okay? So, lastly would be endurance. I'm not quite sure if you're familiar that in the operation, especially hospitality and tourism, you're going to stand for more than 8 or 9 hours. So with that, it was measured to endurance. Okay? So moving along on the next slide. So sorry, I have a limited time only, enable for me to share everything. No? So this one naman po, automatically that would be the respect, good memory, and honesty. So why or how? Obviously, in terms of respect, you're not going to respect the supervisor, the manager, even your colleagues, or even your workmates. And aside from that, even your guests, and the customer. Remember, the customer or the guest is the milk of your business. Okay. So another thing, so we also have your good memory. Normally, it's an additional point for the guest or for the customer if you can remember their first name at least, no? Ayan. And another thing, ano ba yung mga needs and wants nila? So ano ba yung mga special order na lagi nilang nire-request every time that they will going to visit, your establishment? Again, it could be another form of incentives for you or tip, if you can remember, something like that. And of course, for the last one and the most important one, that would be honesty, in which you need to be honest, kung ano man yung ilalagay mo sa resume o sa CV mo, as I mentioned before, to my previous student as well, normally before you put everything in there, you need to analyze, you need to make sure you have a backup copy or documents of the certificate and other files. Okay? So, kasi po, hinahanap yan, and at the same time, it was requested, with the HR or the interviewer. Okay? So, move along for the next slide, and actually, this would be my second subtopic. So, this is all about the hiring and the recruitment. Ayan. So, here, I will going to discuss the different channels, for finding hospitality and tourism jobs. Okay, I think you have the idea already about this one. So here, we have the first, ayan. So this is what we call the hospitality job boards, in which these are the website, related to hospitality. So it could be iHire Hospitality, Job Street, what else? Indeed, Boss Job, Workabroad.ph. That would be the Philippine website that we have here and that we are using actually. And with this one, I'm encouraging you to have an account or to build an account, enable for you to measure what would be the qualities that you already have. And actually, if for example, if you have a Job Street account already, so I'm not promoting Job Street, it's just my example. Normally from there, you can apply to the companies, and from there, obviously they will going to reply to you, and then kasama na po doon, what would be the rate that they can offer based on your experience. Okay, so that's how it works, Ayan. So actually, on the next slide, I also have other software application that I will going to introduce to you. And moving along, we also have a direct application, via hotel chains. So some of these hotel chains are already familiar to you. So maybe you're familiar with Midham Hotel Group, Accor Hotels, and Marriott International. So these are the examples, of the company that they also have here, here in the Philippines. Those are what they call master franchise. And as I remember before, if you're familiar with Ortigas, BGC, and what else? Eastwood. So those are the business area in which I traveled along. So I have my photocopy of actually, tawag po nun before would be biodata. I'm not quite sure if you already familiar with that. For that copy, I think I have 20 copies, and then I will going to submit it, sa mga security guard. And from there, I'm already asking the security guard, oh, boss, is there hiring, or if ever, what would be the available position, no, that they have, and paano ba yung shifting? Okay, so for me, it's much easier kasi nga I already have the idea na. Okay, so obviously, if I'm not quite sure on that company, I will going to recover to reject my resume or my biodata nga by that time, and then I will going to transfer to other company. So whether it's a restaurant, catering, or hotel. Okay, so again, that will be for the direct application. And also, nowadays, since all of you are very familiar, and I'm sure all of you have an FB account, IG, Twitter. So it's obviously recruitment agencies are already accessible nowadays, no, and available, especially for the international hospitality jobs. Okay, so I'm not promoting again, but just to give you a hint, no, in which you can start, especially if you don't have a work experience pa. So we have PMS, that would be Prime Power Manpower Services. I think that would be located in Makati. And also, we have a Green Pasture Agency, LGS Staff Manpower Services, and also Stone Management. So with this kind of agency, that would be your stepping stone, as I mentioned. But first, you need also to check if that would be legit, no? So you do the research, as mentioned earlier then, no, ni Dr. Carpio. So again, for this one, you're going to be assured na you're in the good hands, no? Ayan. So again, as everything, no? And as advanced requirements, obviously you need to process immediately your government mandated benefits, no? Lahat po ng mga requirements ahead of time. Okay? Nasa ganon, the moment you've been scheduled to an interview, you can present ahead of time, no? Whether na kailangan natin yan. And also, I would like to add this Data Privacy Act of 2012. So that is what we call DPA, no? First Republic Act 10173. So ano ba itong Republic Act 2012 na to? So normally, this is an act, no, protecting individual, personal information, and communications system in the government, no, and the private sector. So creating for this purpose National Privacy Commission and for the other purposes. So meaning, if you're going to make a resume or what we call CV nowadays, please make sure hindi po naka-indicate doon yung mga government mandated benefits, yung mga SSS number nyo, NIN number, no, pag-ibig number, iba po yung pag-ibig nyo pa, no. So again, those are the highlights that you shouldn't included in resume or CV. Okay, so obviously, so some of you, no, ng mga younger generation pa, Gen Z, are posting this kind of information na totally you're not aware of. Normally, kapag nakita po ito ng mga other person, let's say yan na, mga mga marites or whatsoever, normally ito going to be copied, and at the same time, no, they will going to use it. Okay? So, nababalitaan niyo yan, hindi ba, na-hack, no, hindi ba, ginagamit for criminal activities and others. Okay? So, for your protection, pwede naman na i-post. Okay? It's just happened that you're going to cover it. Okay? Yung mga personal information po. And that would be for the Data Privacy Act. Okay? And moving along, so for the next slide, I think netiquette is already mentioned on the beginning of the webinar. No, just to add as well, obviously nowadays we have an online interview. But even though it's an online interview, please make sure that you are wearing pareho ng professional attire, what we call the, of course, for the girls that will be blazer, for the boys that will be coat and tie, and other stuff, no, that is needed. So still, you need to have a backup of a notepad and pen, no, video, enable for you to take note the important information. Okay? So respond punctually, and even though that would be a Google Meet, Zoom, again, no, don't be late. Okay? Why? Kasi the moment that you are late, meaning on behalf of the company or the HR, you are not interested, no, for the position that you are applying for. Okay. So also, next, I think this would be the last subtopic that I will going to deliver to you. So this would be the job roles and career opportunities, no, in the new normal. So with this one, I'm not quite sure if some of you are already owning a company or a family business. Why? I'm asking because this is all about the next slide. So this would be all about the top management jobs. So ano ba yung mga position, no? Which is available or which are available in this top management job. So we have the CEO, COO, VP for marketing, VP for food and beverage, director, hotel manager, or general manager, etc. Okay? So again, I'm mentioning the business a while ago, but if you are starting from the rank and file position, meaning nag-start po kayo dun sa mababang position and then you rose up from the rank, no? Naging supervisor kayo, naging manager, naging etc. No? Obviously, that would be a challenge for you. Okay? So hindi naman kasi lahat no? Mayaman, may pera. Some of us are already starting from the bottom. Okay? So for this one, of course, for the perks, let me obviously add some perks for this. Normally, pag you're supervisor or manager, and if you're working at the hotel, imagine you're going to have your own room. You have your free meal, you have free transportation. That would be the benefits, no, of being a boss or what we call the part of the corporation. Okay? So on the next slide that I have here, for those who want to master or if there would be an expertise about F&B or food and service jobs, no, again, there's a lot. No, if you want to be F&B director, F&B manager, F&B supervisor, what else? Outlet manager, pwede rin po. Restaurant manager, ang dami niyan. And what else? Banquet manager, bartender, or those na talagang hindi talaga maalis sa katawan ko ang alak. So why not? Pwede rin po. So sabi nga nila sa HM, inom-inom lang daw or luto-luto lang daw. I think na. Kasi ang dami po niyan, no? But just to tell you honestly, your course is very versatile, no? In which you're not only for this kind of department or industry, but I will going also to highlight other department as well. But you can also work in other field po. Like for example, hospital, BPO, and other stuff po. Okay? So, next slide that I have here, for those who are eager to pursue their love for food, for example, if you want culinary arts, baking and pastry, we have commissary, and production jobs. And just to highlight the differences, of course, if the kitchen is located, for example, sa mga engineer, hospital, BPO, that is what we call pantry. But if that would be located in the hotel, that is what we call the hot and cold kitchen. And if you're going to work at the cruise line, ang tawag po kasi sa kitchen would be galley. Okay? So for those who love food talaga and even mga bread and pastry, of course, you can be executive chef, chef de cuisine, head baker, pastry chef, sous chef, etc. And primarily nag-start lang din naman yun sa bottom part, which to be vegetable peeler at first or what we call commie, no? Commie 1, commie 2, commie 3. And for those who love to be in the front office, lalo na this holiday, no? Normally, lagi yan, may gift yung mga nasa front office, lalo na po pagka mga female, no? Telephone operator, no? Cashier, no? Part of the front office staff. Kasi, lots of guests nowadays, merong pera no? December nga galante yung mga guests, no? So, you can gain different positions for this one, like cruise divisions director, front office manager, duty manager, night auditor, no? Guest relations executive, what else? Bell captain, concierge, and a lot more. And also for the housekeeping job, ayan, for those who want to also to master housekeeping, you can be executive housekeeper, what else? Laundry manager, floor supervisor, no? And also, if you don't have, if you're not a graduate yet, you can start at the bottom, which being a room attendant and public area attendant. Ayan. So those are the stepping stone that we have under a housekeeping department. And also for those who want to travel the world, no? Ayan, and who wants to do to be involved or to be connected in the cruise line. Of course, it doesn't mean that you are HM or you are a TM. Other courses are welcome as well. Okay, so we have captain, we have navigation crew, whether it for deck jobs, no, span recreation jobs. Just to share with you, the moment that you have a different job roles experience, much better for you. Why? Kasi pwede ka mag-part-time, no? Sa cruise time. Okay, so maybe if you know how to do the DJ, then you are bartending in the morning, you can do that kind of work, no? In the cruise time. And also, ayan, so I think marami bang TM dito or tourism management student? I think this job is for you. So this is much more aviation sector, no? So those who want to be a cabin crew, flight attendant, no? Ticketing officers, customer support. So these are the job, no? That suitable for you. But just to clarify, hindi po lahat ng flight attendant are TM graduate, no? Did you know how some of them or majority of them are mass comm, edu, nursing, no? And normally, some of them are not reaching 5.5 behind. No, as long as you are reachable, no? And you can accommodate all the guests, no? So depende kasi yan sa plan mo aviary industry. Normally, you're going to have a basic pay. So this would be average, ha? Just to let you know. So for the basic pay, you could have a 21K package. Basic pay pa lang po yun. And for the productivity pay, so that is per hour, the moment you flight na, no? And that would be 400 pesos per hour. Meaning, if that would be per month, that covers 40,000 monthly. So you're going to have also allowance. So that would be transportation or uniform allowance. That would be 4,000. Again, this would be an average, ha? So meaning this is applicable for other airlines as well. So you're going to have also standby. So meaning that would be 50 pesos, no, per hour, and you could have 900, no, per month. And iba pa po yung commission basis na tinatawag if you can sell merchandise, no, or food items. So normally nag-range po yun na 700 to 2,500. Depende sa galing mo. Automatically kung maboka ka talaga or you are good in suggestive selling, cross-selling, no? So on and so forth. So iba pa po yung bonus na tinatawag sa amin, meron din sa amin yan sa mga hotel. So that is what we call performance bonus. Okay? So iba pa po yung layover nyo, no? So that would be your pocket money na binibigay ng airline industry. Normally, it reaches around 70. So total of, kung i-round up natin, all of that one was 7,000, no? 75,000 monthly. That is for the Philippine peso. Okay, so it's just an idea, no, on how much you're going to make if you're going to be a flight attendant. Anyway, for those HM, so wag po kayong mainggit sa TM kasi if you're going to be connected naman in the hotel and cruise line, so again, I'm not comparing. It depends talaga sa position na apply. Okay? So, moving forward, we also have travel sector, especially for those who have travel agency. Of course, you can be a travel executive, no? Travel consultant, marketing advisor. What else? Tourist information assistant. So for this one, mas mabilis yung recruitment if you are a TM kasi nga normally kabisado na nila yung mga capital, city, no, and even different parts of the globe, no? So for this kind of job. And also for those who wants to involve in events management job, meron po ba ditong gusto maging wedding planner nung ex nila? Of course, no? Wala. Sakit. So, obviously, we have event planner, event coordinator, and what else? Events manager, no, corporate event manager, etc. Okay, so those are the available positions for you if you will go into pursue, no, event management. Nowadays, we call that one as MICE. You're familiar naman yata, no, with the MICE. So, moving along, we also have entertainment sector. We have what we call gaming manager, casino dealer, no, cafe, surveillance, dirt leader, etc. Just to highlight as well, if you're going to pursue this entertainment sector job, ano kasi to, divided to into two. Pwede kang ma-assign sa smoking and non-smoking area. But if you're not a smoker, no, normally you're going to be assigned on that specific area. Nga lang, medyo mababa sa tip and normally service job, service charge. However, if you're going to be assigned in the smoking area, obviously nandun yung talaga yung mga yung mga businessman, mga mayayaman talaga. And they were going to give you, no, a tip more than pa dun sa sinasahod. Okay? And this would be my last sector. This would be the recreation, no, and sports job. For those who want to travel as well, no, and loves to be fit, ayan, so you can be an adventure guide, park ranger, resort manager, and even recreation program supervisor, no, yung tagagawa ng itinerary. So, ayan. So, I think that would be all for now. So, this would be my resources, and I would like also to highlight the business of my friends and my students, and also to leave you a message, of course, no? So, losers focus on winners, no? And winners focus on winners. So, on winning. This means something that is beyond your imagination. But then again, no, focus ka sa sarili mong goal. No matter what, ano may sinasabi nila, hindi ka pwede dyan kasi maliit lang yung height mo or whatsoever. But the question is, did you already try? Okay? So, some of you are already afraid na, paano yan? Online lang naman yung naging class ko this entire semester. So, who cares? No? The question is, ano yung ginawa mo nung online? Okay, baka naman mamaya puro ka lang games, puro ka lang date or whatsoever. Nag-a-attend ka ba ng certification? Nag-a-attend ka ba ng webinar? Again, matatakot ka talaga kasi anong laban mo from other school, from other student, from other applicants, so on and so forth. Okay? So again, darating po yung timeline mo. As of now, pumalakpak ka muna sa iyo. So with that, I think that would be my last slide already. And I hope you gained something this afternoon. Thank you so much for listening, everyone.
All right, thank you, Professor Noli J. and Ope, for that powerful and insightful presentation. To be honest, I'm learning a lot from our key speakers today. And the pandemic changed all of that, at least temporarily, while few segment of the economy were spared. Hospitality and tourism were particularly hard hit. Are you feeling the same, partner?
Yes, partner. I'm also learning a lot from our speakers today. And of course, as a as a tourism student, we can gain more knowledge about it, and you can use that as an advantage in the future if you have more knowledge. And now let us proceed to our question and answer for the participants. You can now go to our comment section or chat box and submit your questions for our speaker to answer. All right, so first, before we go to the first questions, we would like to shout out first Ilvano Marcel Anton M, BSHM from Arellano University Pasig campus. Wow. And by the way, participants, please don't forget to use our official hashtag for today, which is the hashtag SDCA Rethinking Tourism if you're going to post something on social media.
Right, so we do have one question here for our speaker. Do you think the tourism and hospitality industry businesses still recover from what we face today?
Yes, thanks so much for that question. Am I audible?
Yes, you are very much audible.
So, yeah. Yes, actually, we're already recovering now. That's why my title a while ago, no, if you are listening, especially for those students, hospitality and tourism careers and job opportunities on the advent of the new normal after COVID-19 pandemic. So we are already assuming that all of the businesses are going back to normal. So restrictions are lessened. It depends on the area as well. Actually, nowadays, there are some establishments that they didn't require anymore to wear face masks, but the practices is still there. Like for example, sanitizing of hands, and even for the employees, even our local tourism is already booming. They are supported by the Department of Tourism as well. Okay, so all the celebrated events for region or province are already going back to normal. Okay, so I hope I answered the question.
All right, so thank you so much for that, sir. We have the second question here from Aureliana University, from Mark Justin V. Buletin. Prof. Nolly, imagine yourself as an hotel restaurant owner today. How do you motivate yourself as an owner and your staff to continue working in the middle of the pandemic?
Ayan, thank you so much for that question. So being a business owner is tough, especially if you didn't have the knowledge, the skills, and the experience being a rank and file employee. Kasi nga po, that's the time that you can empathy with them. So you didn't know what they feel. So with that, you need to meet halfway, especially during this time of pandemic. So there are establishment, there are companies na totally naawa sa mga employee nila. So what they did, uh, instead that they will going to share the profit or kunin nila yung sahod nila, normally they are giving groceries to that employee na affected ng COVID-19 since it started here in the Philippines way back March 2020. So it's just an example, but again, that is how you communicate and you are sharing your culture and other thoughts with others. So yun lang naman. So yeah, I hope I answered the question as well.
All right. And for the last and final question, how do we bring back tourism and hospitality better?
This one is already mentioned na rin agad, kanina ni Dr. Carpio. So just to add as well, so aside from, of course, to support by the government, of course, it's all about influences. Okay? So nowadays, normally, mahal kasi if you're going to be advertised, to be promoted by the artists. Nowadays, ano ba naman yung mga vloggers, So with that simple act, automatically you can highlight the different destination that we have, the different gastronomy that we are offering here, the local foods na hindi pa na-discover or normally hindi pa po siya natitikman ng other Filipino citizens. So again, there's a lot of opportunities enabled for us to highlight our own. So sabi nga po is tangkilikin is sariling atin. So that would be all for me.
All right, thank you again, Professor Nolly. Now let us proceed to our final speaker. He is an entrepreneur and academician, Professor Romel Ladiero, to share with us his expertise in accelerating tourism amidst global challenges. Romel?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, you are audible.
Good afternoon. Am I audible? Sorry.
Yes, you are.
Okay, so ayusin ko lang yung screen ko. So, can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir. We can see that.
Okay, so do you see it clearly?
Yes, it is very visible.
Okay, so para kasing ang sisingkit ng mata nyo habang tinitignan nyo yung slide. Okay, well, anyway, good afternoon everyone. So especially to our online attendees, organizers, and advisors of this webinar. So, and to the school administrators and to the management of St. Dominic College of Asia. So, thank you very much, SDCA, for inviting me to speak before this webinar to impart my insight on rethinking tourism. So, well, basically, my topic is on accelerating tourism amidst global challenges. So, paano ba, no? So, how are we going to accelerate tourism amidst the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic? Well, let us take a look on the global tourism decline that was brought to us by COVID-19, no? Ano bang meron? Okay, so the current UNWTO World Tourism Barometer estimates that the decline in international tourists or international travel has resulted in a loss of export revenues of 1.3 trillion US dollars, which is more than 11 times the loss experienced during the global economic crisis of 2009. So it's 11 times. Imagine, no, gaano kadami yung 11 times. So it's more than 10%, no, but it's 11. Okay? Then which is more than 11 times the loss experienced during the global economic crisis of 2009, and between 100 and 120 million direct tourism jobs are at risk due to the crisis. Now, many of which are found where in small and medium enterprises. So, SMEs, those that are having less than 100,000 capitalization, no? So sila yung mas affected. Sila yung mas affected nung global tourism decline or because of the shutdown of the industry. And on your left side is actually the century-old Balete Tree Inn, which is located in Maria Aurora. So even the tourism enterprise is actually shut down during the pandemic. Well, that's in a global perspective. So how about in the Philippines? So, according to the survey made by the Philippine Statistics Office, as cited in the studies made by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, in 2019, travel services reached 9.8 billion US dollars. So, representing a growth of 18.7%. That is actually year on year. Of this, 9.3 billion or 95% came from tourism receipts. So that's equivalent to around 20.8% based on a year-on-year growth. No? So however, travel services declined by 81.7% to 1.8 billion in 2020 and by another 66.5% decline in 2021 to only 600 million. So tourism receipts comprise 90.6% of the travel services in 2020. But during the pandemic, well, basically, so ang laki no, na na-slash on our tourism receipt. So technically, the huge decline in tourism receipt is primarily because of the low tourist arrival. So it's very obvious, no? If there are no tourists, well, basically walang gagastos, walang magiging income, walang magiging revenue ang mga tourist destinations natin. So as we all know that tourism plays a big role in the economy, the industry was devastated by the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. So the tourism sector actually employs how many employees, no? The tourism sector employs around 5.7 million in 2019, and about 70% of the employment rate were in the accommodation, food and beverage, and passenger transport sectors, no, which marks about 9.8% of the Philippines' total employment in 2019. Well, according to Professor Noli J. kanina, di ba? there's actually, meron talagang demand, no? So, merong kalalagyan kayo, no? Yung mga graduates natin ng mga tourism and hospitality management students natin. Well, 9.8% of the Philippine total employment in 2019 ay galing in the tourism sector. Well, what happened nung nagkaroon ng pandemic? Unemployment rate rose to 17.7%, or it accounts to 7.3 million unemployed Filipinos in the labor force in April of 2020. So, nakakalungkot, but this is a record high in the unemployment rate, reflecting the effects of coronavirus disease. Well, ano bang nangyari, no? Economic shutdown. There was an economic shutdown in the Philippine labor market, no, because of unemployment. So, unemployment rate in January 2020 was 5.3%, while in April 2019, it was only 5.1%. So, napakalaki. So technically, what is the implication of this? Unemployment rate. So, the rising level or the rising percentage of unemployed individuals. So, what is the implication? Well, government spending, of course, on welfare would also rise concurrently, because unemployment can lead to debts and poverty. Maraming maghirap, maraming mangungutang, and the need to care for the greater public is actually one of the role of the government. Due to a loss in tax revenue and an increase in welfare spending, there would be a budget deficit in situations where unemployment is particularly high. So, ganyan yung nangyari sa atin during the pandemic, di ba? So, kaya nga during the pandemic, ang daming gastos ng gobyerno, no? So, but, well, of course, that's part of their responsibility, no? Ayuda dito, ayuda doon, no? That's actually part of the government's role. Well, during this time, the tourism industry is already accelerating again, no? So, it is obviously seen that the borders are already opening to travelers. So, there is already a need. So, since nag-open na ang mga borders, so there is already a need to restart tourism. So we could be able to regain what the COVID-19 pandemic has taken us in terms of economic gain. No? Economic gain na lang, no? Kasi hindi naman na natin maibabalik yung mga buhay na nawala, no? because of the coronavirus. Okay, and in order to accelerate the restart of tourism in every region, well, technically, the role of the government is very important. No matter how eager our provinces and municipalities in restarting tourism in their areas, it's not going to happen if the government will not do its role. So, many organizations have already posted their studies, analysis, and recommendation on how to accelerate and regain tourist arrival, and among the measures are as follows. So, ito na ngayon, no? Yung mga na-extract natin na mga details. Tourism acceleration on a macro level. So, this is now the role of the government. Okay? So, well, basically, during the pandemic, what did DPWH did, no? Ano bang ginawa ni Secretary Villar, no? So, tuloy pa rin ang trabaho, no? So, ang galing nila sa part na yon, no? So, improvement in tourism infrastructure. Well, technically, improvement of tourism infrastructure is basically that is not the primary role of the Department of Tourism, no? So, that's actually the primary role of the Department of Public Works and Highways, no? So, actually, mababasa natin yan sa isang interview with President BBM, I think. So, yeah. So, that's actually part of their program ngayon, no, to improve tourism infrastructure. But it doesn't necessarily mean that when we say infrastructure projects, it only pertains to roads, bridges, and everything. But it also pertains to the development of basic utilities like water, lightings, so yun, no? So because those basic utilities are technically vital to improving the tourism services of the sector, no, of the tourism and hospitality sector. Okay, so the second role of the government is how, no? What is now the progress in terms of vaccination? I was listening to Mr. Flynn kanina, and he is actually looking at or saying about trust, no? Dun sa tiwala daw, no? Trust and confidence of the travelers to visit one country. And that is pretty true. Totoo yun, no? So, ano na ba ang progress sa vaccination natin? So, as of October 27, 2022, around 71.5 million people were already fully vaccinated from the COVID-19 virus in the Philippines. So this includes those who received single-dose vaccine. So in contrast, so roughly 70.9 million people were still waiting for the second dose of the vaccine. So meanwhile, about 20.64 million already received a booster shot. So what is the implication? Ano ba ang promise ng government, no? So, 'di ba, we want herd immunity, no, during the time of President Duterte, no? Herd immunity palagi yung naririnig natin, so we could be able to survive with this ongoing pandemic. So, paano ba 'yon, no? So, parang we need 80% of our population to be vaccinated, or roughly around 90 million vaccine inoculation. Okay, so nasaan na tayo? 70.9. So nasaan yung 81? Nasaan yung 8 or something 9.9 million? So nasaan na sila? So what is the progress in vaccination? So paano magkakaroon ng trust and confidence ang mga travelers to travel in the Philippines, or say for example, looking at in the municipal level or in the provincial level? So paano sila magkakaroon ng trust na mag-travel sa isang municipality or sa isang tourist destination wherein there are still lots of COVID cases. So the progress in vaccination is actually kailangan tignan natin, no? So we need to consider that. So aside from that, so the third role of the government in accelerating tourism is effective coordination and communication on the changing travel restrictions. So looking at the macro level, so tingnan natin to in a global perspective. Diba, maraming mga bansa yung nag-close ng border sa atin. Then, meron din tayong mga bansang ayaw papasukin dito sa atin kasi takot tayo. Takot tayo na mahawa pa ng virus. But with effective coordination and communication on the changing travel restriction, will basically, diba, from tumatanggap na tayo ngayon ng mga tourists. What happened ngayon? Meron na tayong tinatawag na green lane, no? Green lane or vaccinated travel lanes. It aims to ease the restrictions to fully vaccinated foreign visitors were also implemented by the country to further support the recovery of the tourism industry. So, fully vaccinated travelers from green countries or yung mga countries na mababa na yung cases ng COVID, we call them the green countries, are no longer required to undergo quarantine but need to present only a negative RT-PCR test taken within 72 hours from arrival in the country. So with close coordinations with other countries, limiting travel restrictions, coordinating with them, communicating with them, will basically, so this can be translated into our prime move in accelerating tourism in the country. So looking at the micro level, no? So I know, alam niyo naman yung ginawa ng Cebu, no? Parang nileft nila yung pagsuot ng face mask, something like that, no? So what if, no? What if open na nga ang bansa, pero yung mga provinces naman yung may ayaw, no? So meron na naman tayong problema doon, no? So basically there must be an effective communication and coordination with the national government to the local government, no? So in terms of policies and measures. Okay, so the fourth role of the government, which I think is better to be spearheaded by the private sector, is advancing digital tools. So, ano bang meron ngayon? No? Hotels actually have global distribution systems, no? So you can actually book online. Actually, pati sa restaurant, you can order online, have it delivered at home, something like that. No? Ang dami-dami ng mga digital tools, no? So para maging safe at para ma-accelerate natin ang tourism, no? So in terms of food aggregators, mga booking platforms, right? Meron tayo yung mga online travel agencies, no? So yun, so those are mga digital tools which the government or the private sector can use, no, in order to accelerate tourism. So what else? So how about multilateral cooperation and robust support, no? So countries need to work together, no? As the actions taken by the government have implications for travelers and businesses in other countries and for the global tourism system. So countries need to develop collaborative system across borders to safely restore traveler and business confidence. So stimulate demand and accelerate tourism recovery. So more efficient international coordination systems are also needed to respond to future shock. No? So multilateral cooperation. So the keyword there is kailangan whatever the government is doing should create business confidence and stimulate demand in order to accelerate tourism recovery. So ano ba yung business confidence? No? So paano ba naging confident ang mga investor, like say for example, diba? Yun nga, because of the COVID-19, kailangan safe. Safety is our priority nowadays. Okay. So having all those measures being advised by the United Nations World Tourism Organizations and studies made by the Department of Tourism, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Asian Development Bank, and Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So here are the two, no? So I summarized the two. Summarize natin yung lahat ng sinabi natin into two accelerating measures. So the first one is to leverage online platform to accelerate the digitalization of the industry. So we want safe, no? We want safe. We don't, parang ayaw naman natin ng masyadong maraming movement ng tao kasi nga nandiyan pa si COVID, no? So let us leverage online platform, no? So in terms for the food service industry, meron naman tayong Grab, meron tayong Foodpanda, no? So local food delivery applications are being developed ang dami ng local aggregators natin. So they are actually the one accelerating the food and the beverage sector. No? So even the global distribution systems of hotels, no, their systems of reservations. So there's actually part of the digitalization in the industry. Check-in and check-out procedures even before are being digitalized. No? Meron nga tayong tinatawag na express check-in. Meron din tayong tinatawag na express check-out. No? So wherein guests are no longer required to go or to present, to be present in the lobby para kunin yung susi and everything, no? So may mga hotels ngayon, ano na sila, parang diretso na sa kwarto, even their check-out procedures, settlement of fees and everything are all going digital. So ano pa, yung pwede natin gawing digital? Shopping, no? Ayan. Nagiging digital na siya because of mga shopping platforms. So, another thing is, di ba, kasi we want everyone to be safe. So, enhance the harmonization of health standards in inbound and outbound travel protocols using digital technology. So, even health standards, even the harmonization of health standards needs to be digital. Di ba? Nagkaroon na nga ng mga Google Forms no? So para pagdating mo doon, the only thing that the hotel will check on you is your temperature, no? So other informations like your name, travel history, so are all actually input na lang siya on a particular form, no? So it becomes digital. You know what, di ba, when you go to Baguio during those times, no? Nung panahon na kasagsagan ng COVID, kailangan mong mag-sign up dun sa Visita Baguio pa yun, no? So, then, kailangan ka na para mapabilis, no? Para mapabilis yung transaction natin, no? But, so far, as COVID-19, sabihin na natin na malapit na daw siyang umalis, no? Malapit na daw mawala. Pero let us coexist, no, with the virus in a safety manner. So, wag din naman tayong pakakampante, labas tayo. So, nandiyan pa rin naman si COVID. Let's be safe, no? So these are the ways, no, to accelerate tourism. Well, basically, so in order to rebuild or regain the trust of the travelers, so safety is our number one priority dapat. Okay, so thank you very much, and together let us hand in hand accelerate tourism by making our own place safe for everyone. So I'm now ready to answer your questions.
Alright, so thank you so much, Professor Rafael Latirio, for the powerful presentation. And you know what, partner? Nowadays, tourism is making its comeback after years of being in a pandemic. And with that, people are thrilled to travel around the world, and tourist attractions are being renovated into more fun and lively for tourists to enjoy their visits around the world.
That's true.
And now, let's proceed to our final question and answer for our speaker. Again, for the participants, you can now go to our comment section or chat box and submit your questions for our speaker to answer.
I've seen one question. Well, I don't know if the host will be the one to bring the questions up to me.
Alright, so upon checking here, sir, the first question that I've seen is from Shaira Carrasco. What will happen in the tourism industry after the COVID-19 pandemic?
Okay, so let's think in a positive way. Well, of course, no, we want to accelerate tourism. We want to regain what tourism had, what losses we have, no, during nung panahon ng pandemic. Well, basically, anong mangyayari sa tourism? Mag-accelerate tayo, no? Di ba, may mga ideas ngayon sinasabi natin, ano ba yung, sorry, I forgot the term, pero yung mga tao kasi gusto na nilang mag-travel, no? So, travel revenge, yun, no? The word is travel revenge, no? So, actually, in Baler, no, weekends na, ang mga weekends namin, marami na rin kaming tourists, meron na rin mga travel revenger na pumupunta. Well, so basically, yun nga, no, we will regain again the tourism, but let us not be, wag tayong maging kampante, no? So let us coexist, no? Let virus exist. Well, basically, gawin natin yung part natin to live, to travel safely, mga ganon. So, ang papunta naman tayo dun no? Well, technically, kailangan, let's think positively, no? Huwag tayong tumingin on the negative side. On the negative side, that tourism will not regain its value in the economy again, no? So, tataas ulit, no? Tataas ulit ang ekonomiya natin, yung mga nawala ng trabaho, magkakaroon ulit ng trabaho, no? So yung mga nawalang income, babalik ulit. And the business sectors will again be as lively as pre-pandemic.
All right, thank you, Professor. And for our second question, what is it? Wait. Do you think our government is doing their responsibilities to promote and protect our tourism, especially to the locals surrounding it?
Well, of course, yes, no? So, hanggang saan ba ang tourism level natin? So, tourism is up to the regional level actually, no? So, hindi naman nire-require ang bawat municipality to practice tourism, especially if they cannot offer anything. Well, the government is working on it. Well, basically, no, during the time of DOT Secretary Richard Gordon, panahon ni Gordon, talagang, di ba, may trabaho sa turismo, no, is really accelerating during those. I mean, even ngayon, no, so ang dami. So if you're going to look at the statistics, no, tourism really promotes job. So, may mga book authors nagsasabi, tourism is the answer to poverty. So, kaya kung mapapansin niyo, the government really is very eager to open its borders, to open the Philippines, for us to be able to have more jobs, to create more jobs. So, nandyan lahat kasi yan sa tourism. Kita naman, di ba, during the pandemic, the government is working in improving infrastructure projects, no? So, bridges, roads, no, papunta sa mga provinces, farm to market roads, sa mga destination areas, the government is really working, no? So, even in provinces, nakita na ng mga mayors, nakita na ng mga governors na napaka-importante, no, ng tourism. But with tourism development, so for me, no, so my opinion there is, kasi the government will only develop its road, no, yun lang, infrastructure projects. But when it comes to tourism development, let's leave that to the private sector. Ang private sector may pera yan. Well, basically, ang ipoprovide lang naman talaga ni government, most probably, is the marketing, the general marketing of the Philippines, the general marketing of a particular region. Well, it is not the government of the Philippines who will build the hotels. Hindi naman sila ang magbi-build ng amenities, hindi naman sila ang magbi-build ng mga theme parks na yan, but it's still the private sector. Well, the support of the government is there. Hindi nyo pa ba nararamdaman? Can we move to the next question, or nasagot ko ba yung tanong?
Yes, you answered it. Our next question is from Aerofabia. What do you think would be the best strategy to deal with this challenge
And for you, what would be the best form of inspiration for us to continue on our course, given that tourism is one of the industries most adversely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, affecting economies, livelihoods, public services, and opportunities on all continents. From
Wow.
Aureliano University, Claritel.
Okay, so siguro sagutin ko muna yung unang tanong, no, kasi out of the one paragraph question, ang dami-daming tanong. So what do you think would be the best strategy to deal with this challenge, no? So I think the best strategy is resilience, no? So let us be resilient, no? Huwag tayong papatalo, huwag tayong papadaig, no? Kasi if we are resilient enough, well, basically, we can fight any battle. So, ano yung second question niya? What would be the best form of inspiration for us to continue on our course, given that tourism is one of the industries most adversely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic? So, well, of course, ayaw nyo bang mangarap? For example, ayaw nyo bang mangarap na meron pang better future? Hindi ba yun yung parang ang gandang maging inspiration na maabot nyo pa rin yung pangarap nyo even ganito yung situations, no? So if the previous speaker actually has the motto of meron siyang saying loser focus on winners and winners focus on winning, no? So I actually have my own too, no? So siguro let me inspire you by saying this: don't quit. Quitter never wins, no? It is true courage that will succeed.
That was very inspiring, Professor Ladero. And again, thank you so much, Professor Ladero, for sharing us your wisdom on how to accelerate and improve tourism infrastructure. So, before we have our awarding of certificates, may we request all our virtual participants and our speaker to kindly open your camera and let's have a photo opportunity. Just keep on smiling in front of your camera as our eventologist is continuously taking photos of us. Please, guys, please turn on your camera for us. Alright, for the first batch, 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you so much. For the next batch, prepare your camera, please, and smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. Alright, for our next batch, prepare your camera, please. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate your participation. Once again, thank you, Professor Romel Ladiero, for answering our participants' question. And I'm sure that our participants learned a lot from you. And by the way, other questions we did not entertain, this is what we are going to do. All of your questions will be answered via email by sending your questions to our Eventologist official email at eventologistbatch19@gmail.com. Thank you. And now let's proceed to the presentation of certificate discussed by Ms. Stephanie Ann Valencia.
National Hospitality and Tourism Management in cooperation with Eventologist Batch 19 Certificate of Appreciation is hereby awarded to our resource speakers for unselfishly sharing their expertise and experience as resource speakers during the international webinar series with the theme Rethinking Tourism from Crisis to Transformation. Given this 16th day of November 2022 via virtual platform, St. Dominic College of Asia, Bacoor City, Province of Cavite, Philippines. Signed by Stephanie Ann P. Valencia, Events Head, Professor Alvin G. Yumo, Program Chair of BS Tourism Management, Professor Melbert V. Animas, Course Advisor, Dr. Wendell L. Galapate, School Dean, Mr. Chris Flynn, for the topic of cultural heritage and tourism, supporting local communities. Dr. Nimrod M. Carpio, Strategies of South Korea in the New Era of K-Tourism.
Gagi, mga pa.
Professor Nolly J. and Ope, Hospitality and Tourism Careers and Job Opportunities on the Advent of the New Normal after COVID-19 pandemic. Last and definitely not the least, Professor Romel Landiero, Accelerating Tourism Amidst Global Challenges. We would also like to thank all of our dear participants for actively participating for today's webinar. I am honored to present your Certificate of Participation. In citation, St. Dominic College of Asia, Revolutionizing Education, School of International Hospitality and Tourism Management, in cooperation with Eventologist Batch 19, award this Certificate of Participation to for actively attending the International Webinar Series 2022 with the theme Rethinking Tourism from Crisis to Transformation, given the 16th day of November 2022 via virtual platform. St. Dominic College of Asia, Bacoor City, Province of Cavite, Philippines. Signed by Stephanie Ann P. Valencia, Events Head. Professor Alvin G. Yumo, Program Chair of BS Tourism Management. Professor Melbert V. Animas, Course Advisor. Dr. Wendell L. Galapate, School Dean.
Alright, so thank you so much, Ms. Stephanie and Valencia, and of course to all our speakers for this afternoon's webinar. We are truly delighted and privileged to have you all with us. This webinar will not be possible without the kind and generous assistance of our dear sponsors, and to recognize your invaluable support, let us recognize our sponsor to be presented by Ms. Candy Adonis.
This event will not be possible without the help and assistance of our generous sponsors. And to express our sincerest gratitude, let me acknowledge our sponsors for this event. This event made it possible and sponsored by Just Bomb, Soup Mix and Match Hub, and of course, Ohe Unlimited Chicken Wings.
Alright, thank you so much, Ms. Candy Adonis, and to our sponsors. This event will not be possible without your helping hand. And now, let's proceed to the activity evaluation that will be discussed by Ms. Madeline Aleli Di Racaza.
With regards to the activity evaluation form and distribution of e-certificates, we stand in showing your support and keeping up completed the evaluation.
Thank you for that, Ms. Madeline Aleli Racaza. So for the closing remarks, we would like to call on Professor Alvin G. Yumul, the Program Chair of Tourism Management from St. Dominic College of Asia.
Mabuhay Dominicans, on behalf of the very supportive school team, Dr. Wendell L. Calapate, we would like to congratulate the third year tourism management class for their tremendous work on this webinar. Most especially to your very energetic, dynamic events management guru, Professor Melbert Animas. It is important to regularly hear views from tourism industry experts, and we thank all the speakers for today's event. Thank you for enlightening us more about the industry. Thank you for giving hope to the young generation. I am keen to see connections in the tourism industry worldwide that will benefit the institution, especially our tourism students. It has been a remarkable year for the last 2 years in the industry, but I am very resilient that we will see the world again soon. Again, congratulations and maraming salamat po.
Great, so thank you so much for that remarkable closing remarks, Professor Alvin G. Yumul. I'm sure that all of the participants learned something from you. It will not be as successful as this meet is. Now, let's all watch together the AVP presentation by Eventologist Batch 19. We would like to encourage everyone to mute all of the microphone for the singing of the SD Kaim.
Jessica, we sing. With joyful hearts we bring love, mission, and vision that everyone enjoy. Culture of excellence foster each harmonies. The unity and miracle cherish forevermore. Alma Mater, you guide us towards the truth, that every one of us has to go home. Teachers with your love for us to be all and
Ano?
Creating
Ano,
solid
pre?
gravity,
Okay.
uplifting dignity. Alma mater, you guide us through what's of that every one of us has to go forth. Teach us with your love and for us to be all and great. For us to behold
Once again, thank you everyone for participating in this spectacular webinar. We are hoping that you've learned something from us. And we would like to request to all of the participants to use the official hashtag SDCA Rethinking Tourism, if you're going to post something on social media. Once again, this is Razid Soliman, and I'm Adrian Chua, your host for today. Thank you and mabuhay!